me welcome our first place student to the podium, Audrey Klug, to present her essay. Audrey, there you are.
Hello. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, good. Okay. Alrighty. So about 6 miles northwest of Eureka Springs, Beaver Dam stands a whopping 228 feet high above the White River. And thanks to this dam, Arkansas has been able to keep flooding under control, generate hydroelectricity, and provide a clean water supply for various counties, and also create a lovely recreation area for locals and tourists alike. And 50 years ago, Beaver Dam was constructed, but talk of one being built started much earlier, 1911, if we're being exact. And around 1930, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers started researching whether or not it was even possible to start construction. And it wasn't until 1954 when our National Congress passed the Watershed Protection and Flood Prevention Act in an attempt to control flooding that construction was given the green light. And the Corps of Engineers considered a few locations on the White River, but deemed most of them unsuitable. Eventually they found an area in Carroll County, near Beaver, a small town in northwest Arkansas. The engineers settled on a location a little ways up the river, on mile 609 in Carroll County. Construction was then funded by a $1.1 billion public works appropriation bill in late 1959. Included were funds for flood control, navigation, and reclamation projects for all 50 states. And at the time, President Dwight Eisenhower didn't really like the idea of putting so much money towards a project that had so many uncertainties, so he objected it. But together, Congress overrode the president's veto and then trimmed 2.5% off the initial bill. Construction finally began in the fall of 1960, followed by a groundbreaking ceremony held by the Beaver Dam Association, filled with congressmen and other local dignitaries. A few years later, bids were opened, and soon after that, the powerhouse and switch yards started going up and taking shape. The entire project was finished in June of 1966, with the overall expenses adding up to a total of $46.2 million. They made all that back and more, though, with the White River Lakes preventing an estimated total of $67.2 million in flood losses, and the Beaver Reservoir contributed to $7.2 million to that total by preventing flood damage. And we know that the dam went up to help deter flooding, but it was and still is a water source for multiple counties. Some cities such as Roger, Bentonville, Fayetteville, and Springdale were some of the first to buy water from this lake. And nowadays, Beaver Lake supplies clean water to more than 400,000 customers. Leaders that came together to form the Beaver Water District knew that investing in clean drinking water would only benefit them in the end. Clean water means healthy people, and healthy people helps boost the economy in their regions. And other than flood prevention and clean water, Beaver Dam is responsible for flooding the White River and creating what is now known as Beaver Lake. And as soon as land around the reservoir started going up for sale, people began flocking to the Beaver Land Office to buy and sell property. Most out-of-state developers bought large sums of acreage and then divided that and turned it into smaller lots and neighborhoods. The Army Corps of Engineers built multiple recreation areas all around the lake, bringing in revenue from campers and fishermen to help fund local governments. And the newly flooded lake also made for some great fishing. Many fishermen went to the papers and magazines to gush over Beaver Lake, some even calling it names such as the Queen of the White River Lakes. And the lake offers plenty of fish to choose from. Some of the most common catches are crappies, breams, catfish, and of course the most popular, bass. In fact, bass was so popular, Ray Scott, a promoter, held the first modern bass tournament in the lake in June 1967, and it has been reoccurring ever since. And the fish that occupy the lake are nothing to laugh at. And according to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, some fishermen have reported catching bass up to 64 pounds. Some other notable catches have been a 92-pound black buffalo, as well as a 116-pound blue catfish. That's more than I weigh. The fish that occupy the lake I just repeated myself. Of course, fishing isn't your thing. There are plenty of other things to do as well. As mentioned before, there are several recreation areas surrounding the lake. And according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, there are 12 developed parks with a total of 2,008 acres of campground and 650 individual campsites. Every park has access to necessities such as clean water and showers, as well as electricity and sanitary dumping stations. And while in the parks, visitors also have access to many other facilities like picnic sites and beaches perfect for swimming, hiking trails and boat ramps, and even amphitheaters. And a few years ago, my grandparents bought a house on Beaver Lake, and they live just above Horseshoe Bend, which houses a marina as well as a public campground. And almost every day there's someone out on the lake, either fishing or towing a family around on inflatable rafts. And in the summer it gets even more crowded. I remember standing on their deck one day and being able to count over a dozen boats in just the small section of the lake in front of us. And this past summer, my family decided they wanted to go out on the lake themselves. They had seen so many people out there having fun, they figured they might as well do it at least once. So my grandparents called the local marina and decided to book a date. And a week later, we were out on the water. People at the marina were all incredibly friendly, and even when I'm sure we were annoying them, they gave us all very clear directions on how to navigate the lake and made sure we all knew the safety precautions before we went out. And all in all, Beaver Dam has had a huge impact on the state of Arkansas. Not only has it helped prevent flood damage, therefore saving money and resources, but it has also given Arkansans more new and exciting things to do. So while tons of families, including mine, are out on the lake having fun, the dam is still right there, producing electricity and clean water for hundreds of thousands of people statewide. Thank you.